Please note, the information in this video is based on publicly available sources. We make no claims beyond what has been reported by public outlets. This video is for public awareness purposes only. If you have any information related to this case, please contact the relevant authorities.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Unfinished Stories, a channel devoted to raising awareness for missing person cases and supporting the ongoing efforts to find answers. Each case we cover is a reminder of the lives that have been impacted and the families who continue to seek closure. Brian Schaefer was a 27-year-old medical student at Ohio State University who had mysteriously disappeared one night in 2006, leaving his family, friends, and the public questioning what happened to him. Just 4 weeks prior to his vanishing, Brian's mother, Renee, had passed away from a rare form of cancer, and during this very challenging time, Brian leaned on the support of his girlfriend, Alexis, along with his father, Randall, and his brother, Derek. Randall Schaefer last saw his son early Friday evening when they met for dinner at an Outback Steakhouse just 20 minutes from campus. Brian shared his excitement about going out with friends that night to celebrate the end of exams, and Derek had also spoken to Brian earlier that evening, as Brian had called to see if Derek wanted to join him for drinks. However, Derek had other plans. Hi gorgeous, I just wanted to say hi and that you're an amazing woman and I love you. This was the final voicemail Brian left for Alexis on the night he disappeared. Although Alexis was out of town visiting her hometown that weekend, they remained in contact, and he and Alexis had scheduled a trip to Miami this same weekend where family and friends believed he may have intended to propose to Alexis. On the evening of March 31st, 2006, after dinner with Randall, Brian joined his friend William for a bar crawl to celebrate the start of spring break after a long week of studying for exams. They visited several bars near Ohio State's campus, eventually arriving at the Ugly Tuna Saloon, a popular local venue. Surveillance footage showed Brian entering the bar with his friends, and later they were seen walking toward the Arena District and Short North bars. That night, another friend, Meredith, drove Brian and William back to the Ugly Tuna Saloon. Footage captured Brian briefly conversing with two women near a Wendy's before he appeared to head back toward the bar entrance. The final call was made at 2 a.m., with the bar closing at 2:30 a.m. After finishing their drinks, Brian's friends lost sight of him inside. They called his phone but only reached his voicemail. They searched the bathroom and the only other room accessible to patrons. But after assuming he had gone home, they also left and were seen riding the escalator down to the street level at 2:09 a.m. The last confirmed contact with Brian was at 1:55 a.m. on April 1st, 2006. Alexis attempted to reach Brian early Saturday afternoon, but a call went straight to voicemail. She assumed he might have had a late night and was just sleeping it off. On Sunday, Alexis called Randall to report that none of Brian's friends had seen him since Friday night. When Randall informed her that Brian hadn't shown up for his planned visit on Saturday, Alexis immediately recognized something was wrong. Although she was still in her hometown, she rushed back to Columbus, and upon entering Brian's apartment, she performed a quick walkthrough and confirmed that he was not there. The apartment appeared neat and orderly, with nothing missing. It was evident that he hadn't driven himself, as his Honda Accord was still parked in its usual spot. Derek then arrived at Brian's apartment after receiving a call from his father asking him to check on Brian. Randall's next-door neighbour, a police detective, warned him that the police likely wouldn't take action until Brian had been missing for at least 48 hours, and so Randall was somewhat prepared for the slow response when he reported Brian missing. Randall was determined not to wait idly for the police to act, and so Randall, Derek, Alexis, and Randall's neighbour began their own search early Sunday evening. After speaking with Clint, they learned that Brian's last confirmed location was the Ugly Tuna Saloona, prompting them to start their search there. They scoured the bar and nearby businesses, looked through dumpsters, and talked to people on the street. They even called all the hospitals and checked with the county jail. Hours later, they still had no idea of Brian's whereabouts, but were convinced he wasn't in the immediate area. Defeated, the group called off their search for the night. The next day, as Brian's family and friends anxiously awaited his arrival to catch the flight to Miami, they knew something was amiss when he didn't show up. Brian had been excited about the trip, and there was no way he would voluntarily miss it. Randall, Derek, and Alexis printed missing person flyers and began distributing them around the campus. Growing increasingly concerned, they officially reported him missing. An investigation into Brian's disappearance commenced on Monday, April 3rd, as his whereabouts remained unknown. Detectives faced challenges due to a lack of leads, as there was no activity on Brian's credit cards or cell phone, and his car and personal belongings were intact. Police meticulously reviewed CCTV footage from the bar and nearby areas, but found no clear evidence of Brian leaving. Police dog units were deployed to search the area, including the woods near the river and local campgrounds. The Ugly Tuna Saloona was located on the second floor of a building under construction at the time, leading investigators to consider whether Brian could have exited through an emergency exit or construction area that wasn't fully covered by cameras. Authorities interviewed patrons, staff, and Brian's friends, but no significant leads surfaced. The bar had limited security coverage with several blind spots that might have allowed him to slip away unnoticed. As investigators reviewed the video footage, they were able to confirm much of what Clint and Meredith had shared. They observed all three leaving the parking garage, crossing the courtyard, and taking the escalator up to the bar at 1:15 a.m. At 1:55 a.m., they spotted Brian exiting the bar and briefly conversing with two women just outside the doors before he returned to the bar alone. Eventually, at 2:09 a.m., Meredith and Clint were seen leaving the bar and getting on the escalator. The entire bar emptied out, the lights were turned off, yet Brian never appeared. Meredith passed a polygraph test, while Clint allegedly refused to take one. Despite extensive searches, including construction sites and nearby waterways, nothing was found. By the end of Monday, there was a $5,000 reward for information on Brian's whereabouts. Ohio Crime Stoppers offered $2,000, while his medical school contributed $3,000. The reward fund continued to grow daily, reaching $13,000 by the end of the week. And shortly after Brian's disappearance, a puzzling development occurred. According to leading officer John Hurst, Brian's phone rang multiple times when friends and family tried to call him, pinging a cell tower northwest of Columbus. Unfortunately, this activity did not lead to any answers, and Brian's phone was never recovered. Randall created buttons featuring Brian's photo and a phone number to call with any information, believing they would be more durable than flyers, although he continued to distribute those as well. 3 weeks after Brian went missing, a group of volunteers began searching areas around parts of the nearby river. Despite the fact that Brian had no reason to be near the river that night, there were concerns that someone might have harmed him and disposed of his body there. A group of 24 volunteers combed through the bush surrounding the river and the bike path alongside it, but found no evidence related to Brian. Over the years, numerous tips have surfaced, yet none of them have led to answers. Brian's disappearance profoundly affected his family and friends. His father spent many years seeking answers until his own tragic passing in 2008, and within 3 years, Derek had lost his mother, brother, and father. This case remains one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries in the United States and continues to be a topic of discussion in true crime communities around the world. Some speculate that Brian may have fallen into the nearby river, while others suggest that his body could be concealed within the walls of the Ugly Tuna Saloona. Many theories exist, but the truth remains unknown. If you have any information about Brian Schaefer's disappearance, you're encouraged to contact the Columbus Police Department. Even after all this time, any detail could make a difference. Sharing Brian's story helps keep awareness alive and reminds us of the many families still searching for answers. If you would like to support this channel's mission to raise awareness for missing persons, please subscribe, like, or share this video. Together, we can make sure these stories are never forgotten and continue searching for the missing answers.